Welcome everyone who's come in. We really appreciate your attendance. I'm Dante from Rebuy's Merchant Success Team. So on our agenda for today, we're just going to do a smart cart overview. You're going to see a demonstration of how the new smart cart that we introduced maybe just over a month ago now, maybe less, can be configured. And we're going to talk about Black Friday, Cyber Monday tactics that you can utilize, like incentivizing shoppers with these offers and some of the primary features of the new smart cart, as well as some of the integrations that you'll be able to leverage, not only during peak selling season, but year round. And just a quick introduction here. I'm Dante Maxwell. I've been a merchant success manager with Rebuy since 2022. Had a pretty long career at Shopify before that, and have been involved in e-commerce in some way, shape, or form since about 2005. Loving what I'm doing here. I'm loving working with all of you. It's great to see how empowered you all walk away with the ability to use Rebuy for your success after you've connected with our merchant success team. So again, we appreciate you coming to this call. So 3 things that I want you to walk away with is how to optimize your smart cart ahead of Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the main differences between the smart cart you may be already used to and what our new one is, and unlocking the power of personalization and customization and how you can tailor those experiences, particularly for your promotional season. So while I leave this just kind of smart cart overview slide up for us, I'm going to launch our next poll. All right, that'll probably do. Again, thank you for your participation. We'll just share these results with you quick. So it looks like conversion rates kind of the winner insofar as the primary concern. And that's an e-commerce metric that we can help you push and get the results you're looking for out of course. So I'm going to keep that in mind as we go through the presentation and be able to speak to that. Of course, I'm not going to leave behind things like average order value, customer lifetime value, and things like that too. All very important indeed. Okay, so why is the Rebuy Smart Cart an important feature to have going into Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and any other time of year? What you're seeing, this is just a little snippet from our lookbook, but this is a fully customizable, conversion-focused cart solution designed to replace your Shopify theme's default cart, whether that be a full page cart or an existing cart slide out. Rebuy Smart Cart will take the place of that and allow you to implement new features that might be missing from your current Shopify themes cart that will enable you to lean into your desire to increase your conversion rate or your average order value or a customer lifetime value. Inside the cart, you're going to see things like personalized product recommendations. This is a personalized recommended products block that's controlled through Rebuy's data sources, which are the set of rules or conditions by which product recommendations are surfaced to your target audience as you specify. So very commonly, merchants will lean into Rebuy's AI recommendations engine, specifically to power the product recommendations block in the cart. It also contains a tiered progress meter or motivator bar, as well as an announcement bar there. And you're going to see a couple of layout options on the left. We'll get through that more when we do our build demo. But the tiered progress bar is a great one to help increase average order value, as well as incentivize that, that fantastic customer experience by offering things like free gifts, free shipping, and then the ability for them to see how close they are to meeting those thresholds as they continue to shop. Next, you're going to have things like one-click subscription upgrades and increasing average order value through a buy more, save more type of promotion. These are things that can be configured directly through the smart cart settings that'll allow you to drive more customer lifetime value through the subscription relationship that you could have, and also through increasing average order value by just getting more quantity into the cart and showing customers that there is value in doing so. They also have integrations with our top partners like Klaviyo and Route to help further enhance performance, offering a seamless and optimized shopping experience. This is just a small example of our growing list of smart cart app partners, generally other third-party apps in the e-commerce space that merchants would want or expect to be able to integrate into their cart environment. And that's something that Rebuy does facilitate through this. So we want to get you set up for Black Friday and Cyber Monday success. Ways we want to do that potentially is offering recommendations based on Rebuy's rules engine in the cart. This can come into play if you are, for example, conducting site-wide markdowns as part of your Black Friday, Cyber Monday promotional strategy. We always want to be considerate of what products are being recommended there. It'll come in the form of embedded discount code sections, input sections, that is, in case you're running Black Friday, Cyber Monday promotions that leverage discount codes, perhaps for different tiers of customer segments that you have. We have embedded accelerated payment buttons, including Shop Pay, PayPal, and more, to get customers checked out quickly and securely through the platforms that they're used to using. It should incorporate a tiered progress bar to help motivate those customers and allow them to track their progress towards qualifying for things like free shipping or a free gift or any other type of promo that you want to run using that motivator bar. With more traffic coming to your site during this peak sales time of year, giving customers the ability to easily upgrade into the subscription iterations of your products, even after they may have added a one-time version of it to their cart, is more important than ever, just because of the additional traffic. And then encouraging bulk purchasing by promoting things like buy more, save more as an incentive for customers to purchase more products. Currently, that's a little bit of a Shopify Plus exclusive, but I'm just going to take a moment here to take a look at the questions, our Q&A tab, and see if anything's been dropped in there yet. Looks like we're still clear. And just a big shout out, big thank you to my team for managing the webinar chat. All right, so we're going to demo the setup of the version 2 of our smart carts, so the new version. The image that you're seeing on a screen now is just a cutaway from what I'll be showing you in real time. But if this is your first time seeing the smart cart options for our new cart, then you're going to notice that it does include a visual editor that to some extent allows you to more easily preview your work before even previewing it on the Shopify theme itself. So without further ado, let's get started. First, I just want to introduce you to something you may already be familiar with, which is Rebuy's demo store. We, of course, do use our smart cart on this store. And this is just showing you interactively these features that were mentioned previously and that we'll cover as we configure this. This is actually our legacy cart as it's referred to now. So this is our original smart cart that received, a handful of enhancements over the years and months since its inception. And our product team has really taken this to the next level in their most recent delivery of smart cart. I've been nothing but impressed, and I think I've had my hands on this probably the most amidst our part of the organization here. And so I love speaking to that. So currently our demo store doesn't actually have, like I said, the new smart cart. So we're just going to see how easy it is to set one up. Please shoot your questions through the Q&A tab as we go through this part. And then hype folks, because I don't see the questions maybe necessarily as I'm going through this demo. If you need to bring something to my attention, don't hesitate to get on the mic and let me know. right? So let's start with Smart Cart's multi-cart functionality. Now, if you're used to configuring themes for Shopify, for example, you're used to having something that is published and live, and then other iterations of your theme or perhaps other themes in draft. And that's essentially the same concept we're looking at here. However, we've just expanded the number of draft carts considerably. So, which is why you're going to see this many in the Rebuy demo store. If you previously had V1 of our smart cart on your store, you'll notice that it now includes this legacy sticker on it to let you know that this is a V1 smart cart. If you were to click new smart cart and build a new one from scratch, it'll now start you with V2 right from here. You do still have the ability to create new V1 versions of your smart cart if that's desired. However, after we go through the demo, I think you're going to really be impressed with our V2. But if for whatever reason that's still required or desired, you can use the duplicate feature here. So you won't be able to create new V1 versions, but you can duplicate existing ones and make your associated changes as you wish. But let's actually create a new one. I'm just going to click the button here. Right. And you'll see that as soon as we click that new button, we get a starting point for our layout options. We can choose a single column cart, which I'd say the majority of shops I've interfaced with, shopped with, worked with tend to utilize. But we now have this double column cart option as well. Is there a benefit to single column versus double column? I like that question. I think it really depends on your target market. I think it depends on the product offering. And if it makes sense, then there could be benefits. If it doesn't, then no. What we did notice, however, though, around this time last year, they were kind of like trending. They were the hot thing. And so we just decided to incorporate it. Throughout 2024, I noticed less merchants utilizing a double column cart, not just in Rebuy, just kind of like overall in my shopping experiences. But yeah, that's what I can speak to personally when it comes to single cart versus double column cart. But I'd say like just to really distill down the benefit of double column is that you're going to have much more real estate for your cart line items, because rather than being tucked under the recommendations block being tucked under, it gets its whole dedicated wing, let's call it. So let's just think of industries like bits and bobs, parts and accessories, things like that. Anything where customers are going to have like a really, really long grocery list of items in their checkout, that could come in handy just to aid with the cross-sell functionality. But we're going to start with a single column in this instance nonetheless. So when we click create, that layout is what we're going to be starting with. If we ever change our mind though, we can go back to layouts here and choose a double column one. So no harm, no foul. You don't need to start over if you decided that, I'd rather switch from one to the other. You have that flexibility as you create and start to edit as well. Okay, so the way I like to approach this is just anatomically from top to bottom. This is what you see when you create a new smart card now. Okay, so at the top here, I can go back and to see all the smart carts I have in draft. I can see the title of the current cart that I'm working on here. I have preview options of whether I want to see it on a mobile layout or a desktop layout. And then I have my live toggle, and then the ability to preview this. So what you're going to notice immediately is that there's some differences in how things are styled, like fonts and things like that in the preview, in the visual editor, versus if we were to preview this on the online store. So that preview button, it pulls open a version of the online store with the smart cart that you're currently working on to be previewed. And that's why you see this bar across the bottom of the screen to indicate that Rebuy is in preview mode for that particular smart cart. It tells me here that that's the one I'm looking at. So it's not flying out the store's current cart. In fact, in this instance, in this preview pane, it's showing what I'm going to be working on in the other one. And so you're going to notice things like that. Now it's pulling in the Shopify themes fonts and some of the there might have been some global CSS changes made that make a lot more sense when we're actually looking at it on the online store versus over here. Okay, and as we get into configuring the options that a user or a visitor would see on their screen, we've got the cart title. That represents this over here, your cart. That's just the default language. You can input whatever copy here you like. When I was working with a lot of merchants over in the UK, they like to use words like bag and basket as opposed to cart, and that's totally fine. This gives you the flexibility of calling it whatever you want. Under the advanced settings here, this is something that is different from the previous smart cart. Now, you're going to notice that over here, it's pulling in fonts from my themes typography settings in Shopify. Different merchants approach those typography settings different ways, and different themes group certain typography settings together in different ways. So this will at least give you the option to experiment with different H1 hierarchy, H2 being the default for things like titles, and then it just goes down from there. But you can experiment with this here to see if there's any differences in the fonts that it's pulling from your Shopify themes typography settings to get maybe a result that you desire more without having to use CSS code to actually force a certain font in a certain area. You also have the ability to just hide that title outright. Why would you want to do that? Maybe you're going to use some custom CSS to apply your store's logo there. That's always a possibility. And then as we go through the components, the little component blocks like this, you're going to see many times that there's a custom template toggle. And basically, if we click edit code here, this is going to show me the template code. So this is the code behind what customers are seeing when the Rebuy smart cart's installed. And you can make changes here. This is not something that was available in V1 of the smart cart as well. If custom templates were something that your developer or perhaps Rebuy's launch team, which conducts our paid implementation services, were to apply, they would have done that all through your Shopify theme. So what this really does is it really brings home and centralizes all that customization work. The huge advantage there is if you require support from Rebuy moving forward, it just really makes everything a little bit more concise, easier for our success and support team to get into and understand quickly without having to hunt for code here and there and ask way more questions than you probably want to answer. Login button is also a new addition, and this is a super cool one in my opinion because Rebuy has customer-based rules that are based on things like, is a customer logged in or not? Does a customer account profile in Shopify include a specific tag, which can aid you in different types of promotions that you may want to run for specific customer segments. So that personalization aspect starts even with something as simple as being able to include a login button in your cart. And because you can actually change what the label says, you can use your imagination and whatever kind of copy seems to be the most on brand for you or incentivating if you want to have customers log in, if you have advantages for them, if you are embedding things like your loyalty programs intake form on their account page. There's really a laundry list of benefits to having this here, and we're glad that it's there. Similar to your Shopify theme customizer, you're also going to notice these little icons with the hide, and that allows you to do things like hide a component without deleting it. So for example, with the login button, even if I hover over it here, I see that, I can hide it. It's there, but it's not showing. So I can show hide, similar to in the Shopify theme. We are configuring these elements here inside the fixed top bar. So if I contract that, you can see that now, rather than straight top to bottom with a few exceptions, it's top to bottom, but it's all labeled by basically the body part of the cart that you'd be working within. So as we move from top to bottom, your fixed top bar, you could consider things like this, the header. I guess we've labeled the header its own thing. So the header would be between the top bar and the goal box. And so this is where you might want to add something like an announcement bar or a tiered progress meter. So let's click add. Let's get that announcement bar in. You can have multiple announcements. These announcements, as you put them in, each announcement will scroll like a scrolling marquee. I believe the default timing is like 5 seconds or something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. But you can have multiple announcements. I don't know the character limit, but there is one. So just be cautious if there's line breaks and stuff like that, and how you might want to position things alternatively if you run into line breaks and that's not something you desire. Yeah, these announcement bars are great for things like, maybe like there's special specifics with respect to your promo where you want to be able to facilitate having a tiered progress bar, a promotion for a free gift perhaps, but you don't want to combine that promotion with discount codes or something. You can just basically convey that message to a customer in a place where they would be focused on that goal box by doing that there. Lots of other things too. And it's also important to note that you can use this to link to other areas such as collections, blog pages, etc. All of these announcement boxes here, they do accept inline HTML formatting, meaning you can apply a hyperlink to a text and it'll work there. So now that we've got our announcement bar, we can choose if we want to add to the header that tiered progress bar, or if we want to add it to what we're calling the goal box. I don't know the textbook definition of goal box, but just based on what I would assume its e-commerce implication is, this is probably where we do want to add something like a tiered progress bar. But you can see what the other options are too. And this is something that's new to V2. You weren't able to, without a custom smart card template previously, place these elements in different areas of the smart card. They were really just relegated to their own fixed areas unless you were doing some heavy dev lift. So let's add this progress bar. You can add multiple. They're not going to represent themselves on screen at the same time, but you can have multiple, meaning maybe one I want shown for free shipping followed by a free gift for all customers eligible in the United States. Maybe my other bar is no free shipping, but same free gift threshold, and Canadians are going to see that. And so we can toggle the limit countries in order to do that. One of the big differences between Smart Card V1 and 2 is now, if I were to start typing here, let's say the letter C, now I get a little bit more guidance and prompting, whereas before I was just expected to input a 2-digit ISO country code. And if I didn't know what that was, I needed to reach out to support for help. So this is much more intuitive. We thank our product team for that. Another big ask from merchants that were offering free gifts using the tiered progress meter was to have the ability to represent those free gifts outside of the free gift area, which in some instances can be construed as taking up maybe too much cart real estate. And so the preference would have been to have those free gifts show up as a line item, just like any other line item added to the cart would show up. And now, without having to do a big workaround, it's just a simple toggle. And this would be my preference if I want to have my free gift show up as a line item rather than, there might be an example here that I can show. All right, let's just do this. Got my free shipping. Got my free beanie. So this is what I mean by the free gift area. So this is where that line item mode toggle comes in play, where instead of taking up this space to show and demonstrate what the free gift is, it's just being added as a line item simply like that. Up to 4 tiers is still the max, but there's going to be quite a few more options. So free shipping, most merchants have a free shipping tier. That's fine. Let's add another tier here. We've got free product. So this is like, think of this as free gift. And so if I have an unlocked price, I can just name a product here, pull that in. And this is the product that will be automatically added to the cart when a customer then reaches this $100 unlock price. Now, a big addition to V2 Smart Cart is that we integrate now with Shopify functions. So when you configure a free product tier and you have use Shopify functions toggled on here, it will now automatically create a Shopify functions based discount in your Shopify discounts tab. And so you won't have to configure some obscure Shopify automatic discount code logic or resort to using a Shopify script that'll be phased out by this time next year anyway. The Shopify functions-based discounting that Rebuy supports currently is only here. It's only what you see here. So a free product being added. One other thing is if I add another tier here, I just want to show you some of the additions that weren't previously present in the old smart cart. So let's see, in this one, rather than free product, let's say we can choose order discount. And you're going to notice a few disclaimers that show up over here. So this is what Shopify functions will support as well, like a complete order-based discount. So this would be like, spend high 500, get 50% off your order. Maybe that's a little bit generous. Well, I'm not the merchant here. Get 25% off your order. And that's like the order discount or even a fixed price here. And so this is huge. Like I could say like spend 500, get $50 off my order, that kind of thing. And for each of these, we can also configure the icon size, which we couldn't before as well as text and labels. So a lot more flexibility here. Rather than having to conduct a big workaround, now it's just, I'd rather use a custom tier label for this. So rather than call it, the name of the product that I'm giving away for free or whatever the discount amount is, I can just call it money off or savings or whatever I choose to by using a custom tier label. Is there an example of using variants in the free gift bar? Yeah, that's essentially what I did when I chose that free product. I just chose a single variant. If you want to choose, if you want to give the customer the choice of multiple variants, that can be done too. So I'll choose this product and all of their variants. In an instance like that, what they'll see is still going to look a little bit more like this the moment that they do unlock it. Because this is a one size product, it doesn't have different variants. The experience is different, it's just there. If it does have multiple variants that a customer can choose from, they'll be able to see this like we're seeing it here with a drop down selector to choose their variants. If you have it set up to not be line item mode, their selection will just remain here. And then from there, if you do have line item mode for the free gifts toggled on, once they've selected it from here, the variant that they did select will show up as a line item in their cart. That's a great question. So yeah, big enhancements. I'd say like this is where the most impactful enhancements to V2 Smart Cart live potentially, especially when it comes to making discounting the free gift that gets added automatically easier. Great question, Zach. That's going to be handled through adding different bars. The currency settings will come through for the associated country codes. So you have the flexibility to do that by adding different bars. You just need to make sure that you're specifying which countries those bars are going to be present for. So that's the tiered progress bar. Let's save our progress from here. Yes. Okay. Right now, just a product only. If you want to do a selectable gift with purchase, it's possible, but if you're not on Shopify Plus right now, it's going to require some pretty extensive workarounds and possibly the use of a third-party app that allows you to conduct discounting with Shopify functions. All right, so the body, this is where our cart items live. So the line items themselves here that we would add. And so we have control over this now by clicking here. This is where we'll do things like uh, edit the language for if we have an empty cart. So we can do that. This is where this language will go. So you can edit that here. If you're integrated with any of our selling plan providers, Recharge, Skio, Seal, any of those, once you've managed the integration toggle in the Rebuy admins integrations tab, this is where you'll just come through and toggle the subscriptions on. So for line items in the cart that are eligible for subscription, if a customer then adds a one-time version, they'll see the option to upgrade into a subscription. Disable downgrade. This gives you the option to not allow a customer to change their selection from a subscription back to a one-time. However, you may want to have that option available for them. It just allows that customer journey to continue moving forward without them having to go backwards and potentially get distracted and drop off. So that's available to you here if you want it. You can also configure what the switch to subscription labels are going to look like in here. Other cool thing about switch to subscription is if you have multiple selling plans, meaning different delivery frequencies set up for the same product, if let's say I add one thing that I've got delivering every 6 weeks, and then I add another thing that I've got delivering every 4 weeks, as long as there's some sort of uniform delivery frequency available on either of those, I can retoggle that and switch from 6 to 4 and make sure that both of my items are going to get delivered at the same time every time, if that's what I want to do. You've got control over the language that you use here. Buy more, save more. Buy more, save more is potentially another big one to add. Um, Not only, I would say switch to subscription from a conversion standpoint does really well too, but buy more, save more from an average order value standpoint can really help lift that. Right now, there is no, similar to the tiered progress bar, there's no Shopify function that can be generated through here, but that will be the next Shopify function integration that Rebuy does include, just probably not before the end of the year. However, this one's a lot less complicated to support with just your automatic discount setup in Shopify. So yeah, you could still use a script. You could use a Shopify function that's generated through a third-party app, absolutely. But there's a link to our Help Center documentation here if you want to set this up and just use Shopify automatic discounts to run it. No stress. Brands that sell direct to consumer consumables, anything from food, bev to makeup, tend to do well with buy more, save more. Some users can think of that as, I'll do this now and then decide if I want to subscribe kind of thing. So that could be a foray rather into gaining a subscription customer at some point. So that's really buy more, save more in a nutshell. Okay, now under the cart items, we've got our recommendations block. Brand new, exclusive to V2 Smart Cart is when you create a new cart, a new Rebuy cart cross-sell widget gets created and installed in it automatically. So you don't have to worry about creating a new cart and then there not being any recommendations in it when you publish it or preview it. This gets created automatically when you create a new smart cart. If you were to duplicate this one, it would be the same widget ID in here. It wouldn't create a new one in that case. But you can then click through here to edit the widget. and adjust its data source or adjust its layout, things like that. That happens from the widget settings themselves, not necessarily from the smart cart settings. You can also, if I want to select a widget, I can remove this and add a different one, things like that. I can have multiple smart cart cross-sell widgets too. So in the where is it? In the body here, if I click add, then I can add another cross-sell widget and choose from one that I may have already created that exists, or create a new one from there in the same spot. That could come in handy for instances like, all right, I want one subsection of customers to see this set of recommendations, and I want another subset of customers to see that set of recommendations. Why not just use a single widget? Well, maybe we're doing like some customer-based discounting that's exclusive, managed through functions in the back end. So you'd need a separate widget ID for that. And that really speaks to when we're going to be doing selectable gift with purchase. You now have the ability to present these cross-sell widgets, which is what you would use to build a selectable gift with purchase off of, in different places in the cart anatomy. So for example, rather than always having it in the middle bit here, if a customer qualifies for a selectable gift with purchase using a cross-sell widget, maybe now I'm placing that at the top of their cart just to call more attention. Or maybe I'm placing that at the very bottom before the checkout button so that they don't forget to add their free samples or whatever before they check out. So from a conversion standpoint, the ability for merchants or agency partners or anybody with their hands on Rebuy's back end now, the real advantages there from a conversion standpoint is that I can move around the placement of this stuff in really just a drag and drop capacity. I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to take this announcement bar and I'm going to put it in the body. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. Drag and drop, right? We'll move that back up to where we want it in the header, but it's as easy as that. And that's going to allow you to do things like eventually A/B test different carts with different placements so you can see for yourself what converts better. All right, now in the footer, we've got the cart subtotal. Really, if I click on that, I've got a little bit of play here with what I can do. I probably wouldn't want to mess with this too hard. And I've got the checkout area. So this is where I'll be toggling on things like my terms and conditions, my pre-purchase pop-up. Pre-purchase pop-up is probably worth its own webinar, but for the time being, terms and conditions, something that tends to come up a little bit more frequently during peak selling season and going into holiday season are chargebacks. And I've seen instances in my career in e-commerce where a single chargeback has put a merchant out of business. Super unfortunate. So by having a terms and conditions thing that a customer needs to physically, or not physically, but like actually click to agree to before they check out, you've got links here to your actual terms and conditions. So if I do this, then I can use just some inline HTML formatting to hyperlink these to my actual terms and conditions pages on my shop. And then if I do get a chargeback inquiry, as a part of my response process, I just grab a little screenshot saying like, hey, every customer needs to agree to my terms and conditions before they check out. It might not be the thing that saves me from that chargeback or not, but it is added ammunition to a reply or a response when one's required of us. And where I lost it. Okay, checkout area. We weren't done. You can add things like a view cart button if you really need to direct customers to a full page cart experience before they check out. There might be something like maybe you're selling perishable items like caviar or soup that needs to be, that there's only certain delivery dates when it's going out from your facilities. Then they'll have a delivery date preference picker, things like that there. Maybe there's other information that you really need them to see on your cart page before they check out. They have the ability to do that. A continue shopping button really just closes the modal. So depending on your target market, it might not be obvious to them that that's what an X does, or that's what clicking off of the cart does on a desktop experience. So depending on your target market, maybe a continue shopping button would be appreciated. And again, things like this, you have control over what the label says. So you can really make that sing in your own voice. Shop pay is toggled on by default. You can toggle it off if you wish. I know in certain markets that don't have access to Shopify payments, Shop Pay is not really available there either. And so that's just toggled off at the click of a switch. Accelerated checkout, this would bring in the other accelerated checkout buttons as well. Express checkout buttons. So whichever ones you're integrated with in your Shopify backend, things like PayPal, Amazon Pay, Google Pay, Apple Pay, etc. Now, if you if you integrate with any installment payments, you can add that to the bottom here. And it's something that you need to configure depending on who your installment payment provider or providers are. It just gives you a spot to link that and then link to their terms and conditions. Those, of course, will be an option that the customer sees to be able to check out with on the checkout page. Just kind of forewarning them or letting them know in advance that that's available. That's also like a good one for converting, right? I might not have the money now, but I will in 3 months, so I can pay later or whatever the terms might be. And that really takes us anatomically from top to bottom here. If we want to do things like A/B testing, different widgets inside the cart, that hasn't changed. I've really put the focus here on what's new. So if we go into these global settings here, this is where I've got my CSS input for any sort of custom styling. This is where I've got my event callbacks. So if I need to add like a JavaScript event listener here to do anything special or particular, we can do that. I find it all to be much more well organized than the previous smart cart, as well as from like a feature and functionality standpoint, much more enhanced. So that really sews it up for the live demo component here. And I know we're getting to the end. Thanks for joining me. I know we were a little bit late. I was just trying to figure out some of the really just how to start the webinar. It was as silly as that. All right. Lastly, these are just some examples of smart carts you might see in the wild, and I'm just going to call out a few things here. So being able to add a gift message to your order, being able to include and represent that hard-earned social proof through our integrations with apps like Looks or Yotpo or Judge Me, etc. Being able to input a discount code so that customers can easily see that whatever discount code I'm promoting has an input and they can see how it affects their subtotal even before they get to the checkout. Here, having that agree with the terms and conditions to maybe cover our butts a little bit during, peak selling season. The buy more, save more, the upgrade to subscription, the motivator, the announcements. These are all great examples of real life usages of this, having the logo in the header, things like that. But yeah, that really takes us to the end here. How can Rebuy help? Reach out and let us know. Anybody who's looking for a recording of this, our hype people will help you out and get that sent. Let's just take a minute here and go through the chat and the questions. If anybody on the Rebuy team needs to pipe in and use their voice, you're more than welcome to. But let's see here. It looks like Janet's in the midst of answering one right now. I'll just go to Sean's question here. Where do gift notes populate in Shopify after the customer places their order? So gift notes, Sean, will populate on the order attribution side. So not under the line items themselves in the Shopify order screen, over on the right-hand side. Just trying to think if I don't think I have access to a store that I can show you that on right now, but it's on the right-hand side near the top of the order area where you would see other attribution come in like that. I'll just go with that. So that, yeah, it's going to be on the right-hand side of the order where you see the other order attribution. With the discount code block, will that apply to the checkout again, or will the customer have to enter it again? Great question, Michaela. It will already be input. So if a customer inputs it in the cart, they'll see that it's already been applied in the checkout. They won't have to input it again there. Question from Christina. Can we have Shop Pay, checkout, and PayPal staggered versus clicking Express Checkout? Yeah, that Express Checkout button was just really for demonstration purposes because it depends on what your Shopify admin is actually integrated with and what the Express Checkout preferences have been set to there. So it's showing a placeholder block that says Express Checkout, and you can have them all staggered versus clicking Express Checkout. It won't actually say Express Checkout. I'll just go back to the setting here real quick. So if we do choose accelerated checkout like this, under advanced options, you even have, you know, how many columns do you want to be using, etc. So if I've got three, maybe that's PayPal, Amazon, and Apple, or PayPal, Google, and Apple, etc. So you have more options and control over the layout of those in the new version of the cart, so that by default they don't take up a ton of space if it's something that you want to have and accommodate for visitors. Yeah, that's outside of everything you've highlighted today. Is there one feature that would prompt me to make the switch today? 100%. So for me, that one feature would be the additional support for Shopify functions, especially if I'm not on Shopify Plus, or if I'm on Shopify Plus but don't have the ability now to install that script editor. That's really what's going to do it for me. Um, Personally speaking, my store is not on Shopify Plus, and I was actually using a third party. I still am. I'm using a third party app to create function-based discounts on my store. But I can take one part of the lift off of that for now because of this enhancement in Rebuy. And probably by this time next year, I won't need that app anymore. Um, from the Rebuy dashboard, I'm able to see the widget. I'm able to see the widget analytics from my website, Smart Cart, which is great. Our Rebuy sales as a percent of total is 4.23%. Is that a good proportion? What we're going to do is there's just a lot of variables. This is really specific. So um, just how do we do this? I'm going to say we'll have to get back to you, and maybe if you can connect through our like book a demo form, um, connect with somebody from the merchant success team or from the activation team, and we can walk through that in a little bit more detail with you. So only Shopify Plus. What about Shopify Advance? Um, Really, the way that the Shopify plans are broken down nowadays, to my understanding, is that the majority of non-plus tiers share the same set of features, and then plus tiers have their own set of features. So I don't know, like there's probably a little bit more to this question. So Shopify Plus, what about Shopify Advance? Um, what I was saying about the functions capability is that's going to apply to any Shopify plan, whether you're on basic, advanced, the regular Shopify plan, or plus. And there's probably like a handful of reasons why I would switch to the new smart card today, but that ability to discount and have the discounted item or the free item be added to the card automatically, that's what's doing it for me. Great. Well, we do thank everyone for your questions. Make sure that you get added to the Rebuy water cooler in our community channel. It's in Slack if you're Slack users. If not, make sure you stay on top of our events page, which is probably where you came through to sign up for this webinar. We will be running more office hours throughout the rest of the year, up into Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And then we're probably going to take a lot of the insights that we've gained from those ones and then just do general Q&A office hours for the rest of the year from there. and those will be spearheaded likely by myself and by Max Trummer out in Vancouver, BC, Canada. Just want to give one huge extra warm shout out to the attendees today, everyone from the stores, the merchants, the agency partners. We really thank you for your time. And I want to spend a special extra shout out to the Rebuy Merchant Success team that was able to join and help guide the chat and help answer the questions. We're going to end it there. Thanks again, everybody.